allow them to introduce themselves. So. Why don't you, each of you, introduce yourself, say your name, the name of your business, how many years you've been in business, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Not that particular order. Okay?
Hello, my name is Karen Jacobson. I am known as the GPS Girl. My speaking voice is in over 100 million devices around the world. If you've ever been in a car... car with a GPS, there's a good chance that my speaking voice has been one of the selections. If you choose Australian Karen, you and I will take lots of wonderful trips together. And if you have an iPhone, anybody have an iPhone? Oh, most people have an iPhone. So if you have Siri, the Siri application, and you choose the Australian voice, I will be telling you what to do and where to go. I'll be giving you instructions. I'll be very bossy with you all day long because that's my speaking voice. And I have been in business, goodness, for 25 years, 24 years. And I love to help people put themselves in the driver's seat of their businesses and lives. And I do that by speaking, by singing, by all of the things we have happening over at thegpsgirl.com. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight, a friend. Thank you.
I want to ask some of the different panelists as you're finding out what their expertise is. And without further ado, let's give it over to Karen Jacobson for her presentation.
I was thinking about how I could best use my time, and I want to share with you about recalculating. You've been in a car and you've heard the word recalculating. People don't think that's very good news. But I'm here to tell you that when you hear the word recalculating, it's great news. It means you might have taken a wrong turn, but you're already back on track. By the time you've heard the word recalculating, we've already worked out how to get you to your destination and you are back on the right road. So I'm going to tell you about the 5 directions for recalculating in life. Are you ready? Number 1 is just to simply notice that you are off route. Just to notice. Number 2 is to be willing to make a change. And I think that's the hardest one. Number 2, being willing to make a change. Number 3 is to look toward your destination. Number 4 is to move from the passenger seat into the driver's seat. And number 5 is to take a step, any step, just a small step in the direction of that destination. Now, I need to tell you that recalculating in life is what we're doing all day, every day. Something doesn't go the way as planned, we get frustrated, we might get angry. Did that ever happen to you during the day? Things don't go as planned? You make a plan and then you have to recalculate. So I created this analogy and this tool as a way to lighten things up, as a way to shift the energy out of feeling stuck and feeling like unproductive, and to move myself into a space where I can pick myself up and keep going. And I want to share with you a story which I could take probably hours to share, and I'm going to work on giving you the bottom line story in my few minutes here about an experience in my life where my husband and I had to recalculate, because there are those little itty-bitty recalculations all day long, like, okay, the 10:30 meeting got cancelled and I'm already there, so I have to recalculate and work out what to do with my time now, those kinds of things. But here's a big major life recalculation. I'm going to tell you a short version. And back in 2004, I married the love of my life, my husband Tom. But he came with a very uncooperative ex-wife. And is that the laughter of recognition right here? And she, basically they were divorced, but financially they really weren't completely divorced. And as we started to untangle this situation and to try and sort it out, it led to a lot of legal bills, and ultimately, it went on for 5 years. And we started to get ourselves deep into credit card debt. And we thought we found a way to recalculate. We decided that we would buy an apartment. We'd buy an apartment, we'd dump all of that 30% debt down into the mortgage. We'd refinance after we closed the mortgage. It was a great plan. We got one of those subprime mortgages. You know those mortgages where you don't need any paperwork to prove that you can actually afford the mortgage? We got one of those. So that's because you usually can't afford the mortgage. Anyway, so we got one of those. We closed on the apartment, and this was in August of 2007. And I called our mortgage guy and I said, Tim, it's Karen. We're ready to refinance. And he said, oh, Karen, they've just changed all the laws. Those mortgages aren't available any longer. And we were really stuck. And by this time I was pregnant. And my husband's business had started to dry up with the GFC. You remember that? Yeah, we were having a PFC, a personal financial crisis. And then the legal bills kept on coming, and, you know, we hit rock bottom. And we were living in a beautiful luxury Manhattan apartment, and we didn't have any money for groceries. Really, it was a ludicrous situation, right? So we needed to recalculate, and here's what we did. We're going to use the 5 directions for recalculating. Number 1, to notice you are off route. We had noticed for quite some time at this point that we were off route. Number 2, to be willing to make a change. We were more than willing. Number 3 was to look toward the destination, which for us was financial freedom, being able to actually sustain ourselves and live rather than day to day or month to month, but to live comfortably. And number 4 is to move from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. Number 5 is to take an action. And by this time, we needed to take massive action to sort this situation out. And here's what we did. We rented out our apartment and put tenants in there right away so that we could bring in some income. We got on the phone. I booked tickets to fly to Australia to my family, where we lived rent-free for a year to get ourselves back on our feet. I got on the phone to 19 credit card companies and did deals with them to work out payment plans so that we could consolidate all of that debt and take that 30% debt down to 0% in many cases. And I spent 5 months on the phone with the IRS to work out a payment plan for our back taxes. And I spent 11 months on the phone with the bank. 11 months, long distance from Australia, trying to modify our mortgage. And I did it. On Christmas Eve of 2009, our mortgage modification came through, and we were able to make plans to then move back into our home. And when you recalculate in a really big way like that, there is some amazing rewards that can come out of it. And for us, it was really obvious. Our 15-month-old son got to spend an entire year with his grandparents, and I got to reconnect with my homeland, and my husband and I really got to see what we are made of, because that kind of thing, that makes or breaks, right? And it was, it was a tough experience, but we got to the other side of it. And you can only recalculate, you can only begin to recalculate in life when you're willing to admit you are lost. We were really lost. So I want you to think about one itty-bitty thing in your life. It might not be $90,000 worth of credit card debt, which, by the way, on July 3rd, we made our final payment. We are credit card debt free. Thank you. It might not be being, on the phone for 11 months trying to modify your mortgage, or some kind of horrible legal situation, which is now sorted out, thankfully. But whatever that one little thing is, I invite you to recalculate. And here you are, the 5 directions for recalculating. Number 1, to notice you are off route. Does everybody have something? Yes. Okay, number 2, be willing to make a change. Number 3, to look toward that destination where you would love to be headed. Number 4, to move from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. And number 5, to take a step, even just one little step. When you leave here tonight, write it down. And then just take that action. And, recalculating, I just love using that term. It doesn't always have to be a big major drama. but it can be a way of lightening things up. And I think I have reached my destination, and you have reached your destination.
I am actually going to have you think about questions that you want to ask Karen. Does anyone have questions that you want to ask? I see you thinking about it. Okay, maybe later? Yes? Okay, good. So just a reminder that the bar is open and it's not a distraction if you want to use any of the side entrances for the bar. I see some of the glasses are empty, so, this is our living room here right now. So there's no wrong way to, if you need to use the restroom or order food, take care of yourself, right? Because this event is for us. All right, so let's move on to Kristen. If you have a question for Karen that comes up while Kristen is talking, we'll have an opportunity to address that a little bit later on in the panel. But ready for it? All right, building your business. The first one is, what are your favorite tools or systems for you to make your life easier? And don't say GPS for you.
For me to make my life.
Yeah, and in terms of, let's say, like productivity, right? Because you do a lot of speaking, and you have a child, and you have a husband, and there's all the things that you are responsible for, and your business is growing, and there's things that happen. So how would you say, what are your most favorite tools to have your life be easy?
Lists. I have a lot of lists. And I used to have lists that were all over the place, but now I've got them very structured. And I have my daily directions, my weekly directions, my monthly directions. And I am really clear that over certain periods of time I want to accomplish certain things in certain areas of my life. So I take this whole road mapping thing to an extreme. And I've worked diligently, and I continue to work to streamline my time so that I can eliminate all kinds of niggly, annoying errands and things. And I have a lot of systems that I'm reading books on that stuff all the time. I love just making things as convenient, simple, and streamlined as possible so I can free up time and energy in my brain and in that worry part of the brain, so that I can really focus on what is important.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I remember I got a copy of your book, and you have those outlined in your book, so daily, weekly, and monthly directions. Great. Thank you, Karen. And Kristen, what about you? And then any other questions for the first two panelists? Okay, great. Just say your name.
Robert. I work at a Montreal hospital up in the Bronx. I also have this is myself. Kristen, this question's for you. You sound like somebody who's pretty clear on the steps you've taken. What self-improvement tools or schools of thought have you used in terms of, Napoleon Hill? You sound like who are your mentors in terms of self-improvement tools?
Where did I get this from? Is that what you want to know?
Yes.
Okay. I am a personal development junkie.
I'm going to ask the last two ladies just a couple of questions, right, in my survey. So Jessica, I'll start with you. Who are the top 3 people that you follow, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or like reading of Karen Jacobson, Kristen Domingue, Jessica Chamberlain, and Kavita J. Patel? These are women who are extraordinarily successful, and why they are is because they have such a commitment to serve first. They want to serve. They're here tonight because of their commitment to serve. They want to empower you. So I invite you to connect with them tonight, join their email list, get their free gifts. Each of them, right, they have a different angle and expertise that really can empower what you're up to and what you're creating and building your business. And how many people would not want your team to include this, right? Like to have these women at your beck and call, like, hey Karen, listen, I have this idea. And that's really what happened, right? Last week, we're like, we have this idea, we're going to create an event, right? And then Kristen and Kavita, Jessica, we're actually all creating events here. right? And that's what happens through the power of relationship and connections and being a part of something. So in a moment, I'm going to invite Kavita and Kristen to join the table over there where your raffles are, and I invite all of you to meet with them. I'm going to have Jessica and Karen be over there in the speaker's corner, and you can meet and greet and talk to some of the women. I know that maybe some of you have questions that are unanswered about your own business. Take the time to pick their brains, right? This event, again, is about you. So ask them what you need in your business. They're here. They're all coaches. They're all here to serve you, right? And hear what they have to say. We have a couple more goodies for you tonight. You know, we have some more raffles that we're going to give, but it's going to be after our next part of the event. So we said tonight is part networking, part celebration, and the part celebration portion is this rock star lineup that we have. So I'm just going to ask Roberta.
Did you enjoy the evening? Yes.